What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. It has been some time. The goal for this video is to show you how to make a one-piece construction hoodie. So that's mainly focusing on the hood because I know a lot of hoods, they have two pieces, so this is going to be one. So make sure to follow along. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell, and I hope you guys enjoy. So to start off, we're going to go to our CLO Connect and we're just going to add in a mannequin. We're going to be using MV2.1. We can add this in just like that. So this is going to be our base mannequin that we're going to work with, and then we're going to get going on the garment. So we can press H or use the polygon tool to just do a base design. I always like to do one side of it because we can just use symmetry and mirror it. So we've got that. Now we can right click and say symmetric pattern with sewing. And now we have the front. Now obviously it doesn't look very great, but you'll see once we get into it, it will start looking a bit better. So we have done a little bit of the front. So now we can go into our edit pattern and say edit curvature, and then we can just drag this out like so. We're going to press Z and then extend this out a little bit and just make a little bit more of a curve. Now there isn't one specific way on how to make a pattern, but it's all up to creative interpretation, so you can do what you want. There are a lot of other designers out there that will do something a little bit different, but this is just how I do it. So we're going to go back to edit curvature or C and just curve the front of the neck, and then we're going to bring this down. Just press shift and pull it down so that it stays along the y-axis, and we can do the same for the top. And I'm kind of going for that like bigger shoulder look, so I can bring it down a little bit more, straighten it out. Okay, so we have the front now. So I'm going to press N to sew these two together. You can also go up to your segment sewing tool here and do the same thing. Then I'm going to click on the left side, press Ctrl C and Ctrl V. And I like to place it straight over just so that in the 3D window, we can just pull it back and it will look good. Then we can go back to 2D window and just adjust it. So we know that this is now the back of the garment. Then we're going to do the same thing, right click, symmetric pattern with sewing. And now we have the back. So let's just sort this out. And we're going to press N to sew it. Then we're going to sew the sides together. And you'll see because we have symmetric pattern with sewing enabled, it will automatically do the other side. So let's do the top. And just like that, it has applied. Then we can press spacebar to simulate. And now we have the front of our garment. Now you want to make the bottom of the arms a little bit more curved just so the sewing lies better. So we can go into here and we can adjust it like so, and you'll see it will adjust in the 3D space. And then I'm going to go to the top and do the same thing. You'll notice that there is these grayed out areas. That is because we're in the textured surface mode. If we go to thick, it will go away. But just so you know, these normals are not flipped, so that's why they're showing like that. If you right click and say flip normals, it will be better, but then your pattern changes. So I normally do this right at the end, so just keep that into mind. So I'm going to press Ctrl C just to go out of that. Then we're going to work on the arms. So similar technique, we're going to do one side first. And then we're going to use symmetric pattern. And we're just going to paste that over. It will flip to the other side, so we can just go into our 3D window and drag it across. Now the reason I didn't do with sewing is because it gets a little bit broken when it comes to sewing it to the sleeve. So just keep that in mind as well. You don't want to mess that up. Then we can press C and just pull these out to create that curve that's going to connect to the body of our garment. Now what you do want to do is press Z and just check the length of this. So it's 311.4. So the front being this side must be somewhere in that range so that it works out. And then also the back, this is 309. You want the same thing to happen. So we're going to pull this out a bit. So our back is going to be here. We can pull this out to about 309. That's perfect. Now it doesn't have to be like on the dot. So if the one side isn't accurate to the other side, it is fine. We can then pull this out. And we're going to press N to sew these two together. I'm going to sew the front of our sleeve to the front of our body, and then do the same for the back. Now you don't want to simulate it here because it'll break. We're going to select both of these and rotate it. Now if you aren't in the correct rotation, you'll see that it will start to do weird stuff. So to fix this, you can go up to preferences, gizmo, and use world coordinates. Now if you rotate it there, you'll see it will rotate along the Z axis, I think it is. So what we want to do is place this above the arm so that when we hit simulate, it falls down nicely. So I just press spacebar to simulate, and then we can sew these two together, and just like that we now have an arm. Now you can see it is quite like chunky, so we're going to make this a lot shorter. Just like that, simulate it. Now it's looking a lot better. Now this is obviously a very like oversized look that I'm going for. You can adjust it how you want. You can make these smaller, make that smaller, and it'll be a little bit, the fit will be a lot better. So I'm kind of pretty happy with that right now. We're then going to select the sleeve. We're going to press Ctrl C, and we're going to say mirror paste, and this should place it on the other side of the mannequin, as you can see. And then we can press N on our keyboard to sew these together, and just like that we now have both arms. Now I want to make the torso a little bit wider because we're going for that oversized look. So I'm just going to select both of these and pull it out a bit so it looks a little bit better. That looks good. Now you might be wondering, why does it look so pixelated? That's because if we press on our sleeve, our particle distance is at 20. So we can select all of these and change this down to 10. Now it will impact your computer a little bit, so just take that into consideration, but it's already looking a lot better. Towards the end, I'll bring it down to about 6. 6 is normally a good sweet spot, so I'm just doing that for now so that we can see how the fabric falls. Okay, so from here we're going to start finessing the neckline. So on the back here we want to bring it up, so let's select this, press Z and select, just pull it up, and then we can alter this, and then we now have better neckline. So you almost want it to be 90 degrees, so you can see that little number there. You can just adjust it, and that's good to go. Then I want to just adjust the front, so let's change this to 90 degrees as well, like that. And then I'm also going to bring it down slightly just so it sits better on the neck. And then I'm going to change this to gray, so I'm going to select my fabric over here on the top right and just go to base color, select this, and just change this to gray. We currently have a bunch of different fabrics that are joining each other, and we want to reduce the amount of pieces it takes to sew this. So we're going to select all of this, we're going to right click, and we're going to say remove linked editing. We're then going to click B, which is our edit sewing tool, and then we're going to right click and say merge, and this is going to allow us to merge all our pieces together so that it reduces the amount of wrinkles and creases that might occur when we simulate, and then also it's a more accurate design when it comes to producing it in real life. So you can see this area here looks quite pointy, so we're going to just fix this. So we're going to select both these pieces here like so and drag it up, just smoothing that out, and we're going to do the same for here. Select both of those and just straighten it out. Simulate, much better. Our next thing we want to do is work on our hood, our one-piece hood. So for this, we're going to create a new shape, which is going to look something like this. Just follow along for now, and you'll see what I am getting to. This is going to be the left side of the hood, and then we're going to mirror it and join them together. So we're going to use our curve tool again to do something like this. Then we can bring this down, and then we can right click, say symmetric pattern, and now we have the right side of our hood. So just to get this more accurate, what we're going to do is we are going to place this over our head. So we're going to rotate it a couple times. Just make sure that the curve of the hood is at the back, because we don't want that to be in the front, of course. So let's bring it down and back. We're now going to just sew these pieces together. So this is the top, which will eventually merge, but the rest is all going to be separate. So we can sew this, and then this is the area that goes around the neck. So this is a little bit more technical. We can go press M, or if we go into free sewing, we're going to select the right side, and we're going to press shift, and we're going to sew this in like this. Stay pressing shift, and then you can release, and then we're going to do the same for the back, for the other side. So let's use the free sewing tool, press shift, we're going to drag it up, keep holding shift, click, and then do the same. Now when we hit simulate, it might be a bit buggy at first, but don't worry, we'll fix that now. As you can see, it's pixelated again. This is because it's reset to 20, so we're just going to select both of these and change it down to 10. And now we have what looks like a two-piece hood. So let's fix that. We're going to press B on our keyboard and right click and say merge, and now we officially have one piece. So we can right click just anywhere and say delete all baselines. That will get rid of the line at the top here, so now it looks like it's still one piece. You can see it stops there, so you can change this how you want. I'm actually going to still make this hood a lot bigger. I'm just going to select this. It is symmetric, and we're going to pull it out, and I'm just going to bring this down, and just like that, it should start getting some more shape. I'm going to select the bottom of the hood and pull that out, and it should start getting a lot better. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some detailing around the top. So we're going to click on the front of our hood, right click and say offset as internal line. We're going to set this to about 15 and hit OK. You can see now we have this line that's been added. We're then going to right click and say cut and sew. This is going to separate this, which is what we need. And then just to get some better shape, we're going to add some pressure to this. So select this, go down to your property editor and add about 2. And then when you simulate, we've got some better shape. We want to make sure we're happy with how it's looking without the mannequin. So you can see here. So from here, we're going to right click and flip this normal. So when you do flip the normal, you'll see that this flips. So you won't see it because it's symmetric, but sometimes if it isn't symmetric, you'll see that it flips. So we're going to right click and say flip normal. And now it's back to normal. Then we're going to go to thick textured surface. This is going to just give a better all-around shape. Right now our texture is very thin, so we're going to select all and we're going to add some render thickness. Let's go 1, and it's already looking a lot better. Let's go back down to our property editor and do both. Now we're going to do the rest of our hoodie. So we need to work on the arms and the bottom, and then also add in some pocket detailing. So for here, this is all up to you, but I'm going to add quite a wide ribbing. So I'm going to do the sets to about 60 and press OK. We're going to use the internal line setting again. So let's select both of these and say cut and sew. Then from here, we're going to shrink this. So to do that, we're going to go down to our shrinkage weft and warp. So weft is left to right, warp is top to bottom. So for this we want left to right because we want it to squeeze around the wrist. So we're going to set this to about 80 and hit simulate. As you can see, it's doing what we want. Then I'm going to do the same to the other side. Right click, internal line, 60, press OK. We're going to cut and sew this and set this to 70 and hit simulate. Now I do want there to be some more length on here, so we can bring these both down and actually just select both of these and just bring it down however much we want. And then we should get some like overlapping, which is what we wanted. Okay, so that's our ribbing around the arms. Then we're going to do the bottom. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring this down slightly, and then I'm going to select both of these. So I want to do the same thing to the base of the hoodie. So we're going to select the back and the front of our hoodie, bring it down a bit, right click and say internal. We're going to set it to 60. We're going to right click again and cut and sew. Then we're going to select both of these. This doesn't have to be as intense as the arms because we do want a little bit of breathing room. So I'm going to set it to about 85 and hit simulate. And just like that, it's starting to take shape. Now we need to do the pockets. So I'm just going to do front pocket, nothing crazy. For the pocket, we're going to use our internal polygon / line tool or G. So I'm going to start from the middle and go out, and then we're going to create what looks like a pocket and press enter, and then we can start to adjust this how we want. Then we're going to copy and mirror paste. So now we have our pocket, and then we can select this and right click and say join overlapping points. This will just merge it into one. Then we're going to right click again and say clone as pattern and paste it down here. I'm going to bring it up in the 3D space and bring it a bit closer. Then we're going to press N to sew these together. This is our segment sewing tool once again, and we're just going to make sure that everything is correct. Now, one thing that you must note is when you're doing your sewing, see how the left side of this has this little line here, same as there. Now, if you do it incorrectly, like so, you'll see that the sewing is actually reversed and it's going to do crazy things. So avoid doing that. If you do that, you can delete it. If not, you can press B, click on it and right click and say reverse sewing, and it'll fix it for you. Then you can press sim and you should be good to go. We do want some slack here, so I'm actually going to bring this pocket up a tad bit just so that we have some loose fabric there. Once again, it's pixelated because we are at a 20 particle distance, so we can fix that just going to our property editor and changing that. Let's sim. Now, I do think this needs to go up a bit, so we're going to make this a little bit bigger, and then we're also going to select these and just bring this up a bit. Just keep adjusting until you're happy, I guess. So for this, I do want to add some more detailing to the edges of this. Because we added a new fabric, it won't have the same geometry as the rest, so let's change this render thickness to 2 so it's the same as everything else. And then we're going to add, same as we did to the hood, we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to select the edges of this, I'm going to say offset internal line, hit OK, and then we're going to cut and sew this, and now we have some extra detailing there. Now looking at this, I do still want to make it even bigger, so we're going to select both and press shift and just make it a tad bit bigger, and that will make everything a lot bigger. And then I do want to add some detailing down the edges as well as the top. So let's select all those, offset internal line, and set this to about 5. And then we can cut and sew this and then hit simulate. It's already looking 10 times better. Okay, from here, if you are happy with this, you can then export it. I'll show you how to do the export settings at the end, but if you want to add a zipper down the middle, I'll show you how to do that as well. But first, we're going to change the mannequin pose. We're going to go to male, pose, and we can change it to attention, hit OK. It's now looking a lot better. We're going to add a zipper down the middle. So to do this, it's very easy. We can use the internal line, and we're just going to put it straight down the middle. And make sure to do that to the ribbing as well. Then for the pocket, you're going to do the same thing. Press G. We'll go to your internal polygon tool. And we're going to select these and press enter. And then we can select our new line that we've created. Make sure it's just that and nothing else. And then zoom out, right click and say cut. Don't do cut and sew, because if you do cut and sew, it's just going to be issues. And then when you simulate, you can see that it's separated, which is exactly what we want. So we're going to go up to our zipper tool and click the top and go all the way down to the bottom, double click. Then you're going to do the same for the other side, double click. And then once it's done, you'll see that these lines will appear. Now, before we simulate, we must make sure we've sewn our pocket to our hood. So we're going to use M, or the free sewing tool. You'll see why now. We're going to select this point here at the top, and then this one here. Then we're going to go to our pocket. Make sure you press shift because we're going to sew 2 different pieces. Holding it down, clicking, and pressing enter. So that's the first piece. Now we need to do the same to the other piece. Line it up. And we're going to press shift, left mouse click, shift. And from here we can then simulate. So let's press spacebar. And our hoodie is done. Before we export, I just want to increase the particle distance. So let's take it down to about 5. Simulate. Will start looking a lot more realistic. Now you can do all the texturing and stuff in CLO, but I prefer to do it in Blender. I have a bunch of YouTube videos on how to do that. Make sure to check that out. But this is just how you can create a one-piece hoodie in CLO3D. So there is one more thing that we need to do before we export, and that's go into our UV editor. So we can go to the top left here, go UV editor, and this is basically where you can put your textures and your logos and designs and all that. So we're going to fit all into one UV block. So the goal here is to fit it all into one block. So we're going to right click and say reset UV to arrangement. We're going to select all and we're going to press shift and just make it a lot smaller. Then we can start adjusting this. So I like to have it quite organized. This is our zipper over here, all this information here. I like to just separate it just in case we want to do some custom detailing. So those are like that, that's like that. Then we're just going to make sure these don't overlap. You must have some space between the UVs because when you do detailing in Substance Painter, it will start to tweak out. So just like for future, make sure you do it right in the first place. Then we can select this, bring it down here. This can come up to here. Can select these and press shift and make it bigger. And our UVs are good now. And that's how you can make a one-piece hoodie in CLO3D. I hope this video did help you guys out. If it did, please make sure to drop a like, comment, sub. Thank you so much. As always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.